Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is OZ. If you're just joining for the very first time, you're welcome. I created this channel to talk about the process of applying for a green card under the EB2-NIW category. Now, if this is your very first time, please click on the subscribe button. And if you'd like to get notifications in your mail every time I post a video, please click on the bell sign. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the process of applying for your adjustment of status using the form I-485. So in the previous video, I talked to you about how I petitioned for a green card, how I filled the form I-140, submitted that, and after 5 months, got approval on my form I-140. Now, that form cost me about $700 at the time, and then once it was approved, I then went ahead to file my form I-485, which is the application to adjust status from whatever status you were on to the permanent residency or the green card. So that is done using a form I-485. Now, at the time when I applied for the form I-485, it cost about $1,140, and then you have to pay a biometric fee, which costs $85. So put together, the form I-485 cost me about $1,225. If you have multiple persons applying with you, they'll each have to fill out and submit the form I-485. So that's multiply that by whoever is applying with you. In my case, my husband applied with me, so he didn't have to fill out the form I-140. That's only for the primary petitioner. In my case, I was the primary petitioner. And then after that is approved, then we filed a form I-485 for myself as well as him. So we each had to pay that $1,225 each for our different forms. Now, there's several forms that you can turn in with the form I-485. We've turned in about 4 different forms, and I'll tell you what they each were for. You can do that as well if you want. With our form I-485, we also turned in form I-765, and that's application for employment authorization. Now, the reason why we did that was because I was on my student visa at the time. I'm using my OPT, optional practical training. I already had an employment authorization document to work for the OPT. However, I didn't know how long the green card process was going to take, and so I wanted to make sure that that period was covered. I had enough time on my employment authorization document to work during that period while I was applying for my green card. And so with my form I-140, I also filled out an additional form I-765 to make sure that I got an employment document or an employment authorization document while my green card processing was going on. The next form that I filled out was also my form I-131, and that's application for travel document. Now, my husband and I love to travel, and we wanted to make sure that while our green card process was going on, we could actually leave the United States, visit our families if we needed to, or like go on a honeymoon or something. And so we filed the form I-131, and that is application for travel document. Now, if you're filing your I-485, you can file this I-765 application for employment authorization, as well as the form I-131, which is application for travel documents. You can file those free of charge, or if these forms are going together with your form I-485. The last form that I'm going to talk to you about is a form I-693, and that is actually the report of medical examination and vaccination record. So we had to undergo a medical examination, and this is required if you're applying for a green card to show that you're not bringing any communicable diseases into the United States, and this is done by a civil surgeon. I'm going to talk a little bit about that on my next video. The essence of this video is to talk to you about applying for your adjustment of status using the form I-485. The fee on this form may change when you're ready to file it for your application, so I'd encourage you to go on the USCIS website and look at this fee schedule just to know how much these forms cost. You want to always send in the appropriate amount or the appropriate fee that is requested. All right? Okay. I always advocate for using the latest version of the form, because around the time when I was filing for my I-485, I initially thought that I would concurrently file. So I downloaded the I-485 when I downloaded my I-140. But I ended up sending my I-140 first on its own, and once that got approved, I then sent in my I-485. But because I had downloaded it like months before, I just turned in that application and it got returned to me. So that's something that I'm really passionate about letting people know, is that you must use the updated version of the form. They're always updating their forms, they're always putting new things, taking things out. You want to make sure you always go on the website and get the updated version of that form, right? Okay. So on the form I-485, what's really on that form? It's pretty easy to fill out. Like, it's asking information about you. They want to know everything about you. They want to know about where you've lived in the last 5 years. They want to know about your parents. They want to know about previous marriages. They want to know where you've worked, as your employment history. They want to know about your travel history. The whole series of yes and no questions. They want to know, like, have you ever, done this or that? It's called eligibility and inadmissibility questions. So they want to, like, a whole bunch of yes or no questions. They want to know, like, have you ever been part of the society? Have you ever been an activist? Things like that. And so you fill out all that on the form I-485. Like I said, I filled that form, my husband filled that form. We also each turned in a form I-765 to get an employment authorization letter. We also turned in a form I-131 because we wanted a travel document to be able to travel. Now, if you travel out of the United States while your green card processing is going on, that process is automatically terminated. They terminate the process because it's deemed to be abandoned, and you don't want that. So if you don't want that to happen, you want to apply for a travel document, which using the form I-131. Now, like I said, that form is free if it's filed with the form I-485 adjustment of status form. All right, so how long did it take for me to get an approval on my I-485, on my adjustment of status? Well, so I turned in my adjustment of status, I think in November. So November of 2018, I turned in my form I-485 with my form I-765, my form I-131, and of course the medical check, which was the form I-693. We turned in, my husband and I turned in these forms together in November 2018. And around June of 2019, we got our employment authorization documents as well as our travel documents back. So, which means that our form I-765 and form I-131 were approved. Now, when they send you that employment authorization card, it will have on it something that says advanced parole document basically on it. So you can use that card, like when you travel out of the country, you can always show that card as like your visa or your permission to re-enter the United States whenever you travel out. During this time, we traveled to Japan, so we're able to travel and we didn't have to worry about our green card process being terminated or anything like that. So when we traveled, I didn't actually have any visa in my passport. We actually went to Japan and we spent a few days there, and then coming back into the United States, I only had to show my employment authorization card that also doubled as my travel document because it had the words advanced parole on it. And so in another video, I'm going to tell you guys about that process, traveling on your advanced parole, and like the pros and cons of traveling on your advanced parole document. So like I said, we turned in our application around November 2018. By June of the next year, we had our travel documents as well as our employment authorization documents. Now, we were called in for our biometrics shortly after that, and I think on the 1st of August, we had our I-485 interview. So you actually need to go in for a face-to-face interview with USCIS officers. And so that's something that they've recently introduced. Like, people who had gotten their green cards in the past didn't have to go to the interviews. They were just approved and their green cards were mailed to them. But a lot of people are having to be interviewed, and so that's something that you might encounter. But it's actually really cool. There's nothing really scary about the interview. I'm going to make a whole episode talking about our interview experience just to help you guys, guide you along the way. So we had our interview in August, and by November we had our green cards. So from the time that I submitted the I-485 to the time that we actually got our green cards, it was 1 whole year. Yes, so that's like the benefit of concurrently filing. So in the previous video I talked about filing your I-140, which is a petition for a green card, with your I-485. Now the pro of that is that once your USCIS officer approves your I-140, he already has your I-485 application then and there, and he can start processing that. So it takes like a shorter time. But the con of that is if your I-140 is denied, or if they need more evidence from you, then sending your 485 is not really a wise thing to do, because they're not going to start processing that except the I-140 is approved, right? And so you kind of have to weigh it out and see which one works for you. Some people don't like to file the I-140 and 485 at the same time because of the cost. So all of these cost money. Like in my case, the I-140 costs $700, the I-485 costs around $1,225 with the biometric fee. And of course, you have to mail it in, you have to send in your passport photograph, so these things cost money. You also have to do the medical check. The medical check was not free, so for us the medical check was around $270 each. So that's money that some people have to save up. So you have to kind of weigh the pros and cons. Does it work for you to concurrently file the 140 and the 485 together, or would you turn in the 140 first and wait for an approval, and then after that turn in your 485? It took about 6 months for my I-140 to be approved. It took another year for me to get my green card in hand. Just see what works for you, but definitely take your time and send in the right documents at the right time. Alright, so in the next video I'm going to share some insights on the report of medical examination as well as the vaccination records. I'm going to share with you what diseases are screened for. I'm also going to talk about what vaccinations they actually are interested in for the green card process. So to simplify the process for you, I've actually prepared a free ebook that will help you, guide you through the process of applying for your green card. In the ebook, I talk about the steps for applying to a green card. I also share with you tips that will help you when you're ready to put in that application. If you'd like to get a copy of that free ebook, go ahead and click in the description bar. You'll see the link to get the free ebook. I hope that really helps you and answers a lot of your questions. If you still have more questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to help you through the process. Have a great day. Bye-bye.